Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars, some of my favourite people, and we've got two for you today. Four of the nation's most exciting food and drink startups could taste success today. They're the finalists of the Intu and Virgin Startups Foodpreneur 2017. I'm delighted to say we've got one of them, James Cadbury from Love Cocoa, and one of the judges too, Levi Roots. Boys, how you doing?
I'm good, not bad at all, man. It's been a really good morning seeing people doing something that I did terrifyingly some years ago.
Isn't it interesting? I don't think food and restaurants have ever been more popular. We're suddenly prepared to pay over the odds for great food. Farm shops are springing up everywhere. And certainly, James, with things like chocolate, we'll pay if it's good.
Yeah, I hope so. So we make fantastic organic chocolate, and we came here today to do our pitch. And
You're the great-great-great-grandson of John Cadbury. Firstly, how do you feel about it no longer being English? That must break your heart a bit. It makes me slightly depressed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was really disappointing when they got taken over 6 years ago. But as a family, we can do anything. Our ancestors, my great-great-grandfather, he was a huge philanthropist. He gave back so much to the country in terms of changing laws. He stopped people from working on weekends, bank holidays and stuff like that. He bought a national newspaper to try and stop a war and stuff like that. So try to have a voice against the war. So, they did a fantastic job, and being so generous, it meant that they gave it all away. And it was a shame when they got taken over. So I'm trying to, make British chocolate great again with Love Cocoa. And, hopefully he's happy up there if he's watching down on me.
And let's face it, Americans are great at a lot of things. They're not great at chocolate. It's mostly crap, isn't it? That Hershey stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very different. It's strange, but when you do go to America, you do pick up a bar, and a lot of it isn't great. But I've had some good experience out of America, though. When I go past my showing my passport to people, they always say, "Oh, you missed the cream egg airman." So but people obviously get the cream eggs out there. So yeah.
And it seems to me good chocolate can be very good for you. It's sort of the cheap chocolate that's filled with sugar that is not. I guess by the title of your company, Love Cocoa, I mean, it's a big thing, isn't it, to get the right cocoa, the right amount of sugar and the right amount of mix to make it the perfect chocolate bar.
Yeah, absolutely. So we source ethically from Dominican Republic and also Ecuador. And you're right, you have to get the right balance with that. Our dark chocolate is probably our most popular chocolate, and that does have a lot less sugar than a milk chocolate. And we're also going to be launching a 100% chocolate in the future, probably in the next couple of months in the run up to Christmas. And the good thing about that is that doesn't have any sugar, so it's perfect for people who want a nice little treat.
Levi, I want to talk to you because you are fascinating. What are you? Are you a businessman? Are you a chef? Or are you a musician? What do you want to be defined as?
Well, I don't think I could be any of the above, actually. I'm just still somebody who's passionate about, a little bit about all three, and is still trying to find, who I am and what's my best position in all three. I don't think I've got to the top of the tree yet. Caribbean food is so niche and so new that even though it's arrived 10 years ago since I sort of came on the scene, but we've only just scratched the surface of what Caribbean food is really. And as an entrepreneur, I'm still very much learning from my mentor Peter Jones, who pretty much sort of steering me in the right way of how to become a proper business person. I don't think 10 years of selling some sauces and other products you can sort of class yourself as the finished product. So it's still very much learning. And again, the music, as you said, is still the best part of me, even though I wouldn't be able to separate all three. But I do think if you ask me what inspires me mostly, it is my guitar at home and sitting there. If you say, Levi, will you be 10 minutes? I'll probably be 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I'll probably take the music as the biggest inspiration of all.
You see, I love that. What we saw on Dragon's Den was your passion for life, and that came through in your food. But musically, I mean, some of the people you've performed with, whether it be James Brown, Maxi Priest, or even your pal Bob Marley, what an extraordinary life and career to be around those type of people. I mean, at the absolute top of their game.
It's a fantastic name-dropping opportunity for me whenever time I get the name drop, of these icons that you've just mentioned. And don't forget singing happy birthday to Nelson Mandela when he came to Brixton in 1994. So it's all been, really iconic people that has helped to shape my life. All my heroes, I've been so lucky to have met them and to draw something from them. You know, as you said, Bob Marley was a big inspiration for me when I started out, and I drew a lot of my musical inspiration from him. So it's great that on my new album I've managed to have him on there, my Reggae Reggae Hits album, and still, you know, gaining, you know, inspiration from his music now.
I've been really lucky to interview great people over the years, and it seems to me, especially with music and with food, whether it be a Gordon Ramsay, a Jamie Oliver, or a musician like yourself, you have to live it, breathe it, and it is a part of you, isn't it? I mean, you can't be trained to care about music or food. It's a passion that's from within you.
Absolutely. I do think that's so true, especially if you want something more from it. You know, with the music, if you want something more than just having a listen to some lyrics or some tune and enjoying yourself, I think there is more. Music can do more. It can enhance you in your own life. It can motivate you and can inspire you. So it's about what you're looking for. And with food, I think this is one of the new thing that we call the new rock and roll. I do think food has become like that. 10, 20 years ago, we would have never seen someone like a Gordon Ramsay or a Jamie Oliver when I was a kid as a hero. Absolutely not. We'll be looking at footballers and other celebrities like that. But now, food is the new rock and roll, and it's great that young kids and people all over the country are now actually looking for themselves in business to be included as food business.
And I think, as I said earlier, I mean, people will pay now. It's amazing how these farmers markets, great chocolate. James, it's interesting, isn't it, how when food banks are open up and down the country, we'll still spend on good food if it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's affordable luxury, and you know, people want to treat themselves now and again. And I think there's a general trend in food that people are, you know, eating better quality premium products, but probably less of it sort of thing. So they will, rather than having a bar of chocolate which you might buy from a newsagent, they might, you know, now they probably go and buy once a week and have a really nice quality bar of chocolate. So that's where we sort of fit in.
Tell me about your life. I mean, were you born with a silver spoon in your gob in a 37-bedroom mansion on the back of your great-great-great-granddad, who obviously has had international global success? What has your life been like? It's fascinating.
No, not at all. So my grandfather was an engineer. He never worked in the business, and my father was a lawyer. So they made their own money. The Cadbury inheritance, there's probably a little bit, but not a lot. When my ancestors gave the majority of it away to philanthropy, to different causes, so to hospitals, to communities, to different charities and organisations like that. And as a family, we're still involved in quite a lot of those charities. So I've been trustee of one of these charities where we give 5% of our, so about £5 million a year away to different charities, to sports charities, to all sorts of things. My dad's the chairman of one of those charities as well. So no, we've definitely not had a silver spoon in my mouth, but at the same time, we've been okay sort of thing. So
it's a noble thing to do. I mean, I look at your name and it seems to me like Coca-Cola own Christmas, you own Easter. It must be amazing for you to see your name everywhere. I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, a bit like Oprah, you don't need to say a second name. Cadbury just immediately has an emotional reaction with us. It's very rare that those brands become that big and that personal to so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Cadbury brand is fantastic, has been fantastic. You know, lots of people grew up loving Cadbury's chocolate. I just hope it doesn't change too much after obviously the takeover. So fingers crossed it stays a good quality brand, but we shall see. But we are completely different. Look, Coca, we are sort of top end at the moment, and we're a sort of gifty or affordable luxury for people to eat a couple of times a week rather than an everyday snack bar, which Cadbury's might be.
Let's talk about Virgin Startups Foodpreneur, which is 2017's effort really to create another Levi Roots. You're competing against 3 other people. Tell me why, A, you wanted to be part of this, and B, what you could benefit from it.
Well, I took a Virgin Startup loan to really get the business off the ground, so that shows that we wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And we took £10,000, which we used for to get the product together, so branding and, you know, going and meeting different people to try and really help us take the brand off. So I always wanted to do it when I saw it come up, and I know Virgin's startup name was involved, and especially Intu as well. They're a great shopping centre, and them together creating this opportunity for people to go and have a 1 week pop-up in a store in the country is fantastic, and for the winners to get 6 weeks, and mentorship was also obviously a big draw. And I knew that being a Virgin event, it would have some great judges and people involved like Levi. So that was the real main hooks for us to get involved.
I don't think people, Levi, understand how difficult it is to get a product off the ground, because the supermarkets now are such clever businesses and marketeers that you have to literally pay if you want to be on the end of an aisle, which is so important because you need to be seen. How tricky was it to get the Reggae Reggae sauce as well known as it is?
It is a tricky business. You're absolutely right. And a lot of people seem to think that as soon as they get the business off the ground, it's plain sailing. But in order to get through to one of the top 4 or 5 supermarkets, your Tesco, etc., it is very difficult. Literally, it's one of the most difficult things to do is to get to that point. For me, it was about mentorship. Again, it's about what your mentor does. It's make that crucial call, of contacts and friends of his. For me, Peter made a call to Justin King, which he was chief of Sainsbury's at the time when I was on Dragon's Den. I think he's left now. And it was a phone call to him to ask Peter to ask his mate to whether he would stock Reggae Reggae sauce in Sainsbury's. And I was taken aback because I knew that normally if you did get lucky enough to get Sainsbury's or Tesco to put you in their stores, you'll get 100 stores, perhaps 60 or 50. But for us, it was 607 stores in our first go, which was a fantastic opportunity for me to do what I've always said, that Reggae Reggae sauce could outsell Heinz tomato ketchup. And within weeks of it being on the shelves, that's exactly what happened. So, but it is down to your mentor to be able to make those calls. And that's why I've always said mentorship is one of the most fantastic things in business. And if you're out there as a budding entrepreneur and you haven't got a mentor, I say get one now.
Because it's an interesting story. From what I read, the BBC saw you on a market trying to flog your Reggae Reggae sauce and then invited you to go on Dragon's Den. So that's slightly different in itself, that they saw potential in you and then you got the opportunity. I guess you need an ambassador then, somebody much bigger than yourself, which is why that program works. To be successful, it's almost impossible to do it by yourself. If you phone Tesco and say, will you put Alex Belfield sauce on the shelf, they're going to tell me to clear off, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you have to make your own luck. There isn't any such thing as you were lucky or whatever. I did 15 years of going to exhibitions wherever there was anything to do with sauces, chilies, or anything like that to do with food and eat. I would turn up with my guitar and I'd be singing my songs and hoping that someone like a Dragon's Den would have come along. And then, the rest is easy. But I think that first part is putting yourself out there, really making sure that you know your market, you've done your market investigation, and you completely have made as much friends as you can within that sector that you're in. And the rest is just to wait for that moment to arrive. As I said, you're there and you've made your own luck, and the next thing is somebody to come and tap you on the shoulder. And that's exactly what happened to me.
How hard is it once you get there? I always say this to music people when they get the first number one album. How do you get the second number one album? How easy is it to stay at the top and stay recognizable and not be replaced by the new cool thing that's going to come in and try and steal your market?
I think this is about branding now. This is about the brand. I think people buy food and drink because it's a fantastic taste, but also they buy it because the brand has become part of their lives. Make your own luck, and once you get through that first door, once your product is off and running, there isn't a point where you can sit back and relax and drink that rum punch, because there's always another door for you to get through. But the strength in you actually being achieving when you open that next door it's got to be the strength about the brand, because people will have already known the product, and now it's just the strength of whether or not they'll be willing to invest in your brand by spending £1.50 or whatever it is, the cost of your product. And that's what it's about. So you've got to have a really strong brand in order to get your product. Keep producing new product ideas.
It also seems to me that people love the person. I can't remember or name anybody else from Dragon's Den other than you. It's extraordinary how the individual can sell a product too. And I think that's your greatest asset, isn't it? In marketing, in PR, in your product. If you are it and you care about it, when we hear the word Virgin, we immediately go to Richard Branson because we like him and remember him.
One of the things that I do talk to kids when I do quite a lot of school visits and prisons and wherever there is young people. That's all I do nowadays. And one of the things that I do stress on is about being yourself, is being you. When I first heard about the Dragon's Den program, I heard that it was a show that people go on and pretend to be the sort of finished product. And I wanted to be the Rasta man from Brixton that sings songs and has a great backstory with his grandma and his sauce, and be totally me. And nobody had ever sang on the show before, but that gave me another opportunity to express a part of me that the Dragons may not have seen if I did go on without the guitar. So I wanted to be totally me, and that's what I did. I went on, and I think some of the Dragons were a little bit taken aback, thinking that should it be next door in X Factor and on a show about business and enterprise. Well, for someone like a Peter Jones, that I think doesn't invest in the product, I think he always invests in the person.
Yeah. Congratulations. You're an inspiration and you're completely authentic, and wish you all the best. Thank you for judging Levi Roots, the Virgin Startups Foodpreneur 2017. And finally to you, James, what does this mean to you then if you win, and when you find out later today whether you've got that title?
It would mean as well to me if I had the opportunity to win. We've got some fantastic judges, but we've also got some other great companies who are pitching. So we spent a lot of time with the Snapping Pig in Derby in the centre there, and we've made friends for life. They're absolutely cracking guys, and if we don't win, we've done so well to get to this stage, and we'll support whoever wins. So fingers crossed it'll be us, but you never know with these things.
I guess you can't lose in a way. You got that money, you set up your company, it looks great, it's a classy brand, and you're on your way. Whether you win the title or not, you've sort of been helped by these people, and I presume for that you're incredibly grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a pleasure to start up learning, and everybody here is so fantastic. They're all very supportive, and there's so many little events going on which really do make a big difference, and it helps companies like myself. And we've got past 300 people, then there was down to the last 16, and the last day, so to get to the final four is really fantastic, and fingers crossed later on.
We wish everybody best. James Cadbury, Rupesh Alexandra Thomas, Jamie McCloskey, we've got Nick Coleman and Andrew Allen, all competing for this wonderful title, the Virgin Startups Foodpreneur 2017. We thank you for your time, Levi Roots and James. Really lovely to talk to you. Thank you, boys.